So hello fellow Earthlings. This is Earthling 6455 463728. And this one is about, I'm quoting Joe Rogan when he said a number of times on different podcasts that the age of most of the people dying of COVID-19, dying from COVID-19, is higher than the average life expectancy, or something along those lines. When Joe normally says it, he just leaves it at that. And he's right. He's right. I think for people who are 80, 85, the mortality rate is about 14-15%. For people who are in their 70s or so, I think it might be something like 7%. And it goes down drastically, of course, until you reach about the 40s. And then, it's 0.2% or something like that for everybody all the way down. And I guess the idea is that, okay, you've had a good life and you may have to die early. Of course, he doesn't expand on it. He just quotes that quote because I'm sure he doesn't want to get in trouble like Dr. Phil and Dr. Oz, etc. It's easy to, in a vague way, to tell people, all right, well, you might die. We know you might die, and you were going to die of something anyway. I wonder on two different things. One, if this were killing children, I wonder if people would be so flip about it. If it were killing, 5-year-olds, I think there would be murders. People would be murdering each other, trying to protect their kids. I know people are probably very concerned about their kids, even though kids don't seem to get it. And my sister sent me a link. They don't even seem to transmit it that much. When you look at, well, at least there was a diagram that showed like who transmits the virus, and kids really don't transmit it that well at all. But I think half the population, most women, would probably say shut the whole economy down flat if this were killing children. That said, it's not. It's killing the elderly, and like Joe says, it's killing people who are above the average life expectancy or for the US. The thing about life expectancy, though, is that in order to get an average, the people don't just go up to that and stop. There are lots of people who live much longer than the average, and there are lots of people who live less than the average. That's how you get an average. So if a bunch of people who were alive beyond that start dying, then that's going to push down the life expectancy of the country, and with numbers like 15% mortality rate, that's a lot of jobs. There are a lot of people involved in taking care of these elderly people, and if 15% of them go ahead and die, how are you going to, get new jobs for these people? There is housing for these people. There is the care that they get. There's food for these people. All of those people, if those people die, all of those younger people involved in doing those things, they're going to be flat out of a job. So that's one thing. That's those deaths are going to lead to significant job losses, period. The next thing is, and maybe not for 85-year-olds, but for 70-something-year-olds, 60-something-year-olds, these are grandparents. And I presume a lot of grandparents in some way take care of grandkids. The healthy ones do. So there's that. I guess some of the people who used to take care of the grandparents could go ahead and take care of kids now. But at the same time, it means that whoever was getting free, quote unquote, because someone said there's no such thing as free childcare, but whoever was getting free childcare from grandparents, they're gonna have to find money to pay for this new childcare. The other thing is that there's going to be a lot of deaths. There's going to be a lot of funerals at the same time. Probably going to need to store a lot of bodies, as they've been doing in Italy and Spain. Definitely going to have to find a place to, take care of. I guess all of the jobs that were lost in taking care of some of these people are going to fall on morticians and funeral homes to take care of them as they're after they're dead. There's more than certainly going to be a glut of these people. And I'm saying this based on the fact that the US is opening back up, even though they don't have enough tests and they don't have enough beds, and they have so many other things that they don't have enough of. As a matter of fact, I'm seeing that a lot of rural hospitals may have to end up closing because the elective surgeries that used to bring in the money, they have been postponed as people don't want to get sick from the virus, as well as making space for when people would come in. And they've had to lay off and furlough a lot of their staff, and they've had huge losses. So we have all of these rural hospitals that are likely to close and are being really stressed. We have a whole bunch of people who are headed to hospitals as the number of cases are increasing and the country is opening up and more people are going to be infected, and more people who will survive are still going to end up in the hospital. And they're going to clutter the hospital. People who are going to have heart attacks and strokes and car accidents and broken legs and whatever there might be, they're going to meet a whole bunch of coronavirus cases at the hospitals. Now, all of these people who want to go out to work, they're certainly not going to be regaining customers like myself. There was a joke somewhere where someone had a post. They said, when you realize that how you've been living was basically a lockdown. And that's me. I don't really go anywhere or do much stuff because I'm taking care of my uncle, and I'm really fine with that. But people are going to come out to jobs that a lot of people, there's a lot of people who want to come out, but a lot of people want to go to bars. When people start catching these diseases at bars, and it's one thing. I read about, somebody said that during the bubonic plague, that some people, they just said, hey, whatever, and they drank and just did whatever they wanted to because they thought, if this is the end of the world, then I'm just going to do whatever. And maybe some people might adopt that attitude, even though it's not the end of the world, definitely not for most people who are younger than 60. But a lot of people may just say, hey, let me just get this disease on and get it over with. You know, the US looks like it's going to have the most infections and probably the most number of deaths in the world for quite a long time. There are only two more populous countries that I know of, and that's three. That's China, India, and Indonesia. So, on the bright side, the US is probably going to not need a vaccine because so many people are probably going to end up with COVID-19, being infected by COVID-19, because that's the virus. And I think it's SARS-2, something like that is the actual disease. But yeah, on the bright side, the US probably will not need a vaccine. Maybe by the end of the year. We'll see how this goes. And the rest of the world should be able to get a vaccine because there's so much effort being put towards it. And I think in a lot of different places, probably not Brazil. Brazil looks like it's on a similar trend, just up in terms of the number of cases. The UK, it seems like they might open up a little bit, even though they have one of the highest, I think it's the second highest death rate in the world, officially. Not death rate, number of deaths in the world. Italy might be right there back with them. But, yeah, on a positive note, after however this turns out, the US may not need a vaccine at all. And I hope it works out for Joe Rogan and nobody that he knows happens to die if he sticks to the idea that, hey, let's just open back up and see what happens. Because I was looking at his podcast this evening, and he was saying, if they say we have to close for like 2 years, I'm moving. Now that I say it myself, I probably wouldn't move. I mean, he's rich already. Why? If he wants to go perform in another place, he can go perform. I don't know why he would need to move. But anyway, hey guys, wish me lucks. You can like or unlike if you really don't like. You can comment, subscribe, and or share. Peace.